Today, I'm here with Mike Michalowicz, the entrepreneur behind 3 multi-million-dollar companies and is the author of Profit First, The Pumpkin Plan, and what Business Week deemed the entrepreneur's cult classic, The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. Mike is a former small business columnist for the Wall Street Journal and the former business makeover specialist on MSNBC. He is globally recognized as the guy who challenges outdated business beliefs and teaches us what to do about it. And in this episode, we're going to talk a ton about the Pumpkin Plan, Profit First, and how these two concepts totally transform my business and the business of many others. Growing a small business isn't easy, and to be successful, we know 3 things for sure. You have to work hard, you have to be bold, and you must constantly learn. We're gathering some of the best minds in the business world to share their ideas and strategies with you so you can grow your business easier, be more profitable, and have a lot more fun being a business owner. We're on a mission to connect the world of wellness, and this is the Mind Body Bold Show. What's up, everybody? Mike Arce here, and welcome to another amazing episode of The Bold Show. And I am here with Mike Michalowicz. Now, if you guys don't know who Mike Michalowicz is, it's probably because you've been living under a rock, because this guy is awesome. And you've actually been very much responsible for my journey in life and how my businesses have flourished, because your principles just make so much sense and no one thinks about them until you articulate it the way you do. And now I know thousands of people are doing this stuff, right? So wrote 2 books. One of them is called Pumpkin Plan, and that was the first one that kind of changed my business model. Well, not business model, but as far as the way I looked at the things I was going to do and the way I was going to execute on things. And then most recently, Profit First, which is a book that just totally made me change the way I look at my finances and really build my business to become profitable, which is what everybody wants, right? Nobody says, I want a business, I want to do good things, but I don't want to be profitable. Everyone wants to be profitable.
Yeah,
right?
They say it, but they don't experience it, you know?
So we're going to dig into this book a little bit because it's incredible. And for those people that are not readers and are going to refuse to buy this book, hopefully this episode digs into it a little bit here and gives you a lot of great valuable information. But obviously you dig deep in here. But let's go as deep as we can in this episode. So tell me about Profit First and why you decided to write this book and what it's about.
So it came out of my own dilemma. I'm also an entrepreneur. I've grown some businesses, and the God honest truth, even though I built those businesses and sold them, and it looks from the outside, wow, this guy's successful. It was written up in the Wall Street Journal, one of my businesses I sold. I was never profitable running them.
Right.
And I remember one of my companies had 30 employees, give or take. I had $1 million salary I had to pay out that year plus. And I remember going home every night panicking, saying, I need to get more sales in to support this. I can't refinance my house again.
Right.
I don't know how to sustain it. I'm not taking a salary. I've never taken a salary. And so I never made money running those businesses. The only way I made money was selling businesses. And then I thought, oh, the answer is you don't make money building, you make it selling.
Right.
So I said, I'll be an angel investor. I'll do this 10 times over. I'll get all these little businesses started. Well, they all collapsed. And so it took me, after I sold my businesses, I became a millionaire for a very short period. I was like a day millionaire, because within another day, I was trying to run these businesses. I was failing, and I lost all my money. That became finally the enlightenment for me, saying there's got to be a different way. Traditional accounting that tells us read all these income statements, read the balance sheets, read all these numbers, wasn't what I was doing, and it didn't work for me.
And most people don't enjoy all that stuff. They enjoy it when it looks good and right, and everything's clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
But how rare is it to see that, right?
Yeah, most entrepreneurs, we like to sell, we like to run our business, we like to take care of our employees.
We like to see things grow.
Yeah, and we like to see the money. I like to go into my bank account and see money in there, but reading all the accounting statements, forget it. I kept on pushing that off. So Profit First is a system I originally developed for myself so I could run my entire business by looking at my bank account, the one thing that I was doing. And now we have 30,000 plus companies that are doing Profit First.
Now the crazy thing is, your mother is like traditional German mom, right?
Yeah, total.
She kind of ran Profit First without really calling it or writing a book about it or reading a book about it. But tell me about that.
Yeah, so she ran the envelope system.
Okay.
So if you've never heard of the envelope system, what it is my mother, and I'm sure someone in your family tree did it. Someone in your family tree, Mike?
I actually attempted to do it in the past,
Oh,
but
you've done it.
I wasn't strict enough on myself. Today I am, but
that's the key.
It's different now. But yeah, go ahead.
So she had all these different physical envelopes, and she would go to work, she'd come out of work, she would cash in her check, and then divide the money up based upon percentages into the envelope. The food envelope, the mortgage envelope, the community envelope, the vacation envelope. And then when she went food shopping, she'd grab the food envelope and only work with that. It became a perfect system because there was always money in the mortgage.
And she had the rainy day envelope.
Rainy day envelope, yeah, because sometimes she was sick, sometimes there was problems. But she always had money allocated to its purpose before using that money. What I found, what I was doing, most business owners do, and I bet you that the people watching are doing this, is we have one account, one primary account. It's our checking account. All the deposits go in there. All of our bills get paid out of there. It's one big envelope. So we say, oh, I need to take care of this bill. Well, I got some money. And we always, by looking at that one account, go to what's the most urgent need, usually the stack of bills. So we spend everything, and we justify it. Oh, I can afford that.
Right.
So this is a simple system that my mom taught me. Divide money up into different envelopes for its purpose first, then spend the money.
And it was like, what, 4 or 5 accounts that you recommend, right?
For business, there's 5 accounts. An income account is the serving tray. So when money comes into your business, it sits there simply to see how much money's flowing in, but you never pay a bill from there. Right. You then allocate it to the other 4 accounts. Profit. That's a reward for you for starting a business. Very few people have the courage to do what you've done, start a business. The second account is an owner's comp account. The owner, I would argue, is the most important employee for the business. I mean, if you went away, the business would probably collapse. You are critical, so we have to pay you accordingly. Tax account, tax bills come every quarter. You start your business for financial freedom, the business will pay your tax on your behalf. And the final account is operating expenses. That's what you run the rest of the business off of.
Got it. Okay. Now, one of the things that you call borrowing and then correct yourself is stealing, right?
Yeah.
People will borrow or steal things from other accounts.
Yeah.
And you talk about some strategies on how to stay away from doing that, how to have more self-control.
Yeah, the classic thing is I look at my operating expense account and say, well, I got this stack of bills. I can't pay my bills. This isn't working. Here's the golden lesson. If you can't pay your bills out of the operating expense account when you divide it up, your business is telling you you can't afford those bills. Can't pay them, can't afford them, which means you can no longer incur those bills. You have to find a new, innovative way. But what people do is they say, well, there's money sitting in my profit account. No one's looking. I'll just borrow.
Well, or they justify, right? They justify it by saying, this is an investment.
Right, it'll grow my business.
Right. But what would you do if you didn't have that cash? You wouldn't make that investment. You'd figure it out, right? And we're all good at that. Since the beginning of time, the reason we're still alive along with the cockroaches is because we learned to adapt and survive. And how many things as a business owner have you said no to that may cost $500, right? But then at the end of the day, if your air conditioning went out and it costs $1,000, you're not gonna, if it's 110 degrees out like it is in Arizona, you're not gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna deal with it. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna find a way to do it, whether that means sacrificing in certain areas or something, right?
Find an innovation to do it. One of my favorite stories, and this is an important point, Apollo 13. Apollo 13 is a true story. It's the space race, U.S. versus Russia. The U.S., we sent up a capsule to land on the moon. It's the 13th mission. It's a calamity from the get-go. Once they launch, the sole mission is getting back to Earth. They are using the moon's gravitational pull to pull them back to Earth. They radio down to Houston and say, Houston, we've got a problem. They said, we're losing oxygen. The filters aren't working. If you've seen the movie, and this is a real story, the next scene, the lead engineer takes a box of junk, dumps on the table with other engineers and says, that's the stuff we have up in the capsule. Make an oxygen filter out of the system. And they did. And the lesson is this. NASA spent tens of millions of dollars making the original filters because we, taxpayers, gave them the money. Then when they had no resources, no time, they found an alternative, simpler, better way. Now, I'm not saying make a capsule out of duct tape and toothpaste, but what I am saying is NASA probably didn't need to spend tens of millions of dollars. But when the money's put in front of them, they find the solution for that dollar amount. And we are the same. If all the money's put in front of us, we'll find a solution for that dollar amount.
And a great example of that is, have a business, and in that business, we found a way to do live streaming with all these great cameras and all this stuff, and it cost $20,000 to do it that way. And so I go to the video guy and I said, hey, can we do this? He's like, oh, it's going to cost about $20,000. And I said, we can't do that. That's not in our budget. I mean, we could have, but I didn't want to spend that money because profit first, right? And so we held off on it, Now he wanted to do it so bad, he found out a way to do it for like $300.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So now if I just acted, because I felt like it's an investment, it's something we should do, I'd had $20,000 less that I actually could have used in other places, but we were able to do it for $300, right? And I think that's that was like the beginning for us to learn, like, wow, maybe we should play Scrappy, because when I first started my business, I had no choice. You either have money or time when you first start, so you spend a lot of, usually it's not money, usually it's time, so you spend a lot of time learning stuff, and then little by little you start realizing you can delegate, which is okay, but you still have to find a way to play Scrappy. Even Steve Jobs did it when you noticed they were doing well, they started dipping.
Yeah.
And if you go to YouTube video, Steve Jobs leads a meeting, I think it was called, and he says right there, he's like, guys, we got to go back to playing Scrappy.
Yes. So the interesting thing about Scrappy is that's where innovation resides.
Right.
If I throw money at a solution, you follow the obvious solution. Oh, I went on the internet. This is how everyone does it. Let's copy it.
Right.
Money makes copying. Scrappiness forces innovation, a new way of finding it. Now here's how you force scrappiness. You have to remove the temptation to borrow from that profit account. So we put the money in the profit account. We put money in the tax hold, right, so we can pay our tax bill. If that money's sitting there and we have not enough money in our operating expenses, we'll look at the profit account and the tax account and say, I'll just borrow, which means stealing. So we're going to transfer that money from yourself. We're going to move that money from the profit and the tax account to a second bank. That's the key. Because once it's out of sight, out of mind.
It's hard to transfer with an app.
Yeah. And by the way, when you get the second bank, no online banking, no starter checks, no ATM cards.
It's got to be
hard.
Yeah.
You transfer the money in, and the only way to get it out is to drive to that bank branch and get a certified banker's check to get it out. Now it's totally out of sight, out of mind, and the profit starts piling up, and scrappy innovation kicks in. You're like, I only have this much, I have to make it work, and you'll find a way.
Mm-hmm. And then you build great habits off of that. And then if you want to, you can start making things simpler, but in reality, if it's working, it's working. But great people, great successful people are really just a collection of great habits, and sometimes it means making some big, tough moves like that, right? One of the things that I know I kind of said at first, and a lot of people I think might say, especially in the small business world, is, well, that's great if you have money to save.
Right.
But
I'm not profitable
I'm not profitable. I mean, I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah.
So you gave like a 1% example in the book. And so talk to me about the 1% example and how people can start building these things.
So there was a study in another book that I love. It's called Switch. Dan Heath and Chip Heath, they're brothers who are studying human behaviors. And Switch is a great book because they talk about how to adjust the behaviors of others, your employees, including your own. And what they did, they studied fitness. And by the way, I talk a lot about fitness in here because that's a parallel. Physical fitness and fiscal fitness run in parallel a lot.
Okay.
Well, what they did is they were studying people who wanted to become cardiovascularly fit. The standard regimen is run 3 miles 3 days a week, roughly. And they took 200 people, 100 they said, do the 3 miles 3 days a week. That's called a control. The other half they said, do you like to watch television? People said, yeah. They said, are you willing to stand instead of sit on the couch when you watch television? The people said, yeah. The whole theory here is we've been told all our lives, raise the bar. What's your BHAG? Play bigger, big goals. They said, Instead, lower the goals. Because if we set big goals and we miss them, we become defeated. If we set a low goal that will succeed, we'll say, hey, I could do that. What else can I do? So they went to this group. After about 2 weeks, they looked at the groups. The control group already, it's not surprising, but half the people who had never run before were not running 3 miles 3 days a week. This group who's just standing, 100% success, of course. Start fast forwarding. This group that was standing, they said, now you're standing. Would you march in place while you're standing? They said, yeah. This group, they said, keep running. That's the regimen. Come back a month later. Everyone had failed at this side. Maybe one person was making it. This side, pure success. Running, or standing and marching went to running and jogging in place, walking around the house during commercial breaks, to running around the block, to running 3 miles 3 days a week. At the end of the experiment, over 80% success had achieved the standard, abject failure. So with profit first, we're not going to raise the bar. If you're just starting out, we're going to actually lower the bar. I don't care how your business has been. Everyone can afford 1% profit. Right. I mean, if you have a $1,000 deposit come in, I'm saying take $10, put it into profit first, and run your business off $990. You can do it.
Even if it's $10,000,
I'm saying take $100.
If your business can run, what you say in the book is if your business can run off $10,000, it can run off $9,900.
Yeah, if you can run off 100%, you can run off 99%. And no one can argue that.
Right.
But what we're going to do is start allocating 1% toward profit. What this will do is you won't get rich overnight, but it'll start proving to you you can allocate profit first. Then we'll start marching in place and make it 2%, maybe a few months later. Then 3, then 4, and then like you were talking offline, your business, you start taking more and more, and you find it's easier and easier as you get momentum.
It gets easier because you know it's possible.
Exactly.
It's one of those, it's similar to losing weight, right?
Man,
I got 60 pounds to lose.
Yeah,
but let's start with like 1 pound.
Yes.
And let's go to 3 pounds. And then, wow, look, this month you lost 7 pounds. Okay, now next month I know I can at least lose 7. Can I lose 8?
Yes.
Can I lose 9? But if you start with 50 pounds, it seems like a goal that's just too much.
Too big.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why you do that. You talk about smaller plates as well in your book. You know, you can survive off of that. But if here in America, other countries as well, we're taught eat everything on your plate. And if there's food there, I'm going to eat it.
Right, that's the analogy. So that plays into a behavioral concept called Parkinson's Law. So Parkinson was a theorist, and he said the more that a resource expands, the more we consume of it. So if you and I are negotiating a contract, and I say to you, hey Mike, I'll get you the quote in 2 weeks, is that cool? And you say yes, it'll probably take me 2 weeks. Same guys, same conversation, same contract, if I say I'll get to you in 2 days, I'll hustle through the night and get it done. So more resource, I take longer, less resource, I'm more efficient. So the concept of plates is just like envelopes. If we put all our money on one plate, one account, we've actually expanded the resource of cash and we use more of it. Mm-hmm. If we divide the money up into these different accounts, therefore give small plates to a purpose, we will contract our usage of it. Mm-hmm.
Guys, I got to tell you, this is a system that I and a lot of other entrepreneurs I know are using that are successful. And it seems hard to implement in the very beginning, but man, when you start with the 1%, it just works, and you do learn how to run your business successfully off of what's remaining. You do. And so I definitely encourage you guys, implement the profit first strategy. And if you feel like you need to learn more about it, definitely get the book. Either way, it's just such an amazing philosophy that I think it's fundamental in growing your business, because more profit you have, you kind of become obsessed with it at first.
You do.
It becomes like, wow, can I make 10%? Can I make 15%?
Yeah, I think the day this really takes off is when the emotion changes. The emotion for many entrepreneurs, myself for a long time, was how big is my business? How much am I spending? You'd ask me about my business, I'd talk about the top line, all the great stuff I have. Then the emotion shifted to how healthy is my business, the bottom line, and how efficient was I running. So when your emotion turns from spending to saving, and you get more joy out of saving than spending, game over. Right. Your profit will skyrocket.
Well, Greg Crabtree is notoriously known as being a great finance guy. One of the things he says is revenues for vanity, profits for sanity, and cash is king. Yep. Right? At the end of the day, it's great to say, oh, we're a $500,000 company or we're $1 million company. Yeah. There's a lot of $10 million companies that are broke, that are losing money, right? And then you get, and I told you that, right? Our business was at 250 and then went to 500, and I was actually making more money at 250 than I was at 500 because there were more expenses, costs, and wasn't really managing it well. But then profits for sanity, because, okay, if we're not making money, but we're making gross profit, it's like there's just some adjustments we can make in like operation costs that can get us there. And then cash is king. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your business is making 100,000 or $1 million, cash and what's left in the bank, I'd rather make $20,000 off of a $100,000 revenue company than $10,000 off of $1 million company.
I 100% agree. I have a little different analogy. I say revenue or stress points.
Okay.
The more revenue you make, the more stress it puts on yourself and your business. The profit is sanity points.
Right.
So you want to elevate your sanity and manage your stress. I'm not saying no stress. No stress is no good either. I'm not calling make your business a beach bum and just sit there and drink margaritas. Stress is good to a certain level, but there needs to be a balance. So manage the stress, increase the profit, the sanity, and then the cash gets you through some dark periods. Every business will have dark periods. I had one client that was working with their ceiling collapsed from a snowstorm. They were out of business for 2 months. They had the cash and they got through it. So cash can get you through some tough periods.
Yeah. Now, before we go, I got a ton of notes here.
Yeah.
You can tell by the book it's dusty.
Yeah.
I filled up the book. I'm on to other.
I love it.
I write notes on every book I read.
And you have very good handwriting, by the way. I can actually read it.
Well, I won't read it if it's sloppy. I've learned that about myself. If it's sloppy, I don't engage as much. So I write in all capitals because it makes me write slower. I don't know. It's my thing. Yeah. But anyway, I write these down because my strategy is I don't want to have to reread the book every time. I want to read the stuff that was the most impactful out of the book to me, and this is the way I look at things. So I have 4 pages of notes here from the first book I ever heard from you, Pumpkin Plan. I saw you speak at an event 10 minutes later after learning this philosophy. Within 10 minutes, I bought the book on my iPad. You probably totally thought I was checking my email instead of listening to you, but I was buying the book. And on top of that, I read this book. It was so great. While I was on the plane to Vegas, I started reading it. And instead of hanging out in Vegas and doing cool things in Vegas, I sat in my hotel room and I read the rest of the book, and I took all these notes. So just in short, because the Pumpkin Plan to me was genius. Another just great philosophy. The way you look at things is really great. Talk to me about what the Pumpkin Plan philosophy is for a business owner and what it really means to you?
Yeah, so growth is an important factor for a business. I mean, you need to have growth to build more profits. There's no question about it. But my question was, can it be done organically and healthily? I mean, without an outside infusion of capital, how do you do it? And I found there are certain businesses that do it. But most importantly, or interestingly, I found that in nature, these colossal pumpkin farmers, these guys that grow these massive pumpkins, they hold the secret, if you will, that translates to colossal, organic, healthy growth.
Which nobody probably would have ever thought that would be possible. But
it's a weird
connection. So give me an idea as to how growing a colossal pumpkin is considered one of those giant pumpkins that you see like winning ribbons at fairs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you got your Halloween pumpkins.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me about how understanding how to grow a colossal pumpkin can be applied, that same strategy, to business.
So there was 5 key things I found. First of all, colossal farmers pick seeds that match their environment. It's a big, important deal. They spend a lot of time to pick a seed that has the most potential. That's what businesses need to do too. Pick the seed that matches your environment. The second thing is they call it the sprout analysis. If you're a pumpkin farmer, a colossal farmer, you look for the strongest sprouts. Ordinary farmers actually look for the weakest sprouts. You want to help the weak along because they're in the quantity game. Colossal farmers look for the strong sprouts because they have the most potential. They focus and concentrate on the strong.
And in business, how does that translate?
Business, we got to focus on the strong elements and replicate that. Too many businesses run to the squeaky wheel. Here's the client that's not working out and they're complaining. Everyone focus on fixing them.
He always complains, and we're always spending time making him happy.
Yeah.
And what about Larry over there? Oh, Larry's awesome.
He's great.
He's a loyalist. He's not going anywhere. We don't need to worry about him.
Yeah, we're making mint from him. We can ignore him. I mean, it makes no sense, but
right.
we go to the squeaky wheel.
Because who do your best customers hang out with?
The best customers hang out with best customers, and your squeaky customers hang out with other squeaky people.
Right.
So you start actually replicating it.
They're at home just squeaking to each other about all the things that are going wrong in their lives.
And I'll tell you, the squeaky guy's sitting there going, I can't believe this. I don't pay on time. Actually, I don't pay at all. I complain all the time, and they service me perfectly well. That's the formula to work with this company. You act like a jerk, and they'll work with you. And so all these people come flocking in. The third step is the watering process. Colossal farmers use what's called quenching. It's an optimization drip campaign, if you will, where the ordinary farmer uses a saturation process. Intense, fast, one pass.
So if I'm growing a regular pumpkin, like the ones you see at Walmart, they sell Halloween, I'm just once a day, I'm just drowning it in water and expecting these to grow.
Exactly.
Right? And then with a colossal pumpkin,
you're optimized. You hit it about 10 times to 20 times a day. Give it just enough water so it can absorb it. It's during this phase that the plant gets into a rhythm, basically, and starts growing faster and faster. It starts outpacing an ordinary pumpkin by 5 to 10 times the growth rate of this.
And you said it can grow up to how many pounds per day?
50 pounds a day, easy.
That's crazy.
Toward the edge,
a pumpkin.
50 pounds. Like, you can't see it growing, but you'll see it from overnight when you come back.
Yeah.
And if you put the ear to the ground, you can hear the water flowing in.
Wow.
Yeah, colossal pumpkins explode in growth, particularly toward the end, if you follow these steps.
So now how does that relate to business?
So in business, most businesses do the saturation process. They kind of attack the customer base. Oh, there's an opportunity here. Let's run 1 million Facebook ads. Let's email them. Let's go crazy. And we hit them hard and fast. It actually hurts the relationship. It kills the roots because it's like, who are you? Why are you attacking me?
And with employees as well.
And employees, you can do the same thing.
You can just drown them in all
these
these projects, right? Expect a ton to be done in a short timeline.
Yeah.
Or you can give them little projects at a time.
And you get the momentum.
And challenge them, and they hit those little wins that you talked about earlier.
Exactly right. And with your customers, you constantly educate and support them, and you build that rapport. Rapport is dripped over time, not an instant one-shot deal.
Got it.
The fourth step I think we're on is the root system. Ordinary farmers don't care about the roots. They just look at the surface level. They throw down chemicals. But the colossal farmer looks underground. They use special tools and resources to see the root system because it's bringing that critical water in. In business, how this translates is most businesses look at the surface level. Just how do we market to our existing customers and new customers? But they don't look at the underground system, which is the other vendors.
Right.
If I ask you, say you're my best customer, hey, what other vendors do you work with besides me? Not my competitors, but other vendors that you use. I can seek to collaborate with them so collectively we can serve you better. I build relationships with other vendors. We serve you better. You're thrilled, and they're thrilled because we're serving you better. I'm serving them, and they ultimately can introduce me to other people like you.
So a great example is, let's say you own a fitness studio or massage, therapy studio, something like that. Your job is to ultimately get this person in a better physical condition than he currently came to you with.
That's right.
Right, no matter what.
That's right.
Chiropractor, whatever. Let's say fitness studio as an example.
Yeah.
So I meet with you. You're my best customer.
Yep.
And I go, hey, or one of my best customers, my colossals, because usually if you have 300 members or customers, you get 10 to 20 of them that are great colossals, right? Hey, Mike, I really, really want to thank you for being such a great customer for so long, and I want to help you. As thank you, I want to help you get to an even better place, whatever I can do. I know we're doing all this stuff physically for you here in the gym. What else are you doing to take care of your body? You seen a chiropractor, you seen a massage therapist? Maybe I can kind of work out a regimen that's custom for you.
I'm almost tearing up here because it's so perfect. That's exactly how you do it.
Right. And so now you say, I got this chiropractor I've been working with for a while, or I got a massage therapist. Really? So tell me about the chiropractor. What's he doing for you? I'm going in this many times. You like him? Oh, I love him. He's been great. You go, do you mind making an intro? I'd love to chat with him. Maybe he doesn't know what I'm working on, or maybe he can give me some ideas and we can collaborate, just make this even better for you.
Beautiful. Right.
Now, this guy's like, oh, it's awesome.
Customers and by the way, the customers never heard that before. No. I guarantee, Mike, not one of your competitors has ever approached your customer with that care.
No, and it's great. You're bragging. Think about the conversation at home, right, with their friends, cousins. Oh, yeah, I got my trainer working on me, and he talks with my chiropractor, massage therapist. They all communicate to make me great.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Anyway, who is your chiropractor?
The customer looks like a super athlete with that
experience. Right, exactly. But the great thing is, guys, remember, you're doing this with your colossal customer, somebody that you would love to duplicate over and over. If this chiropractor, this massage therapist found a way to land them, chances are they found a way to land other colossals as well. And so now you call them up, and what's an example of what you'd say to that chiropractor?
Well, you first say, hey, Mike, hey, chiropractor, we share a mutual client, Mike. Mm-hmm. And I have a great experience.
Easy icebreaker.
Yeah, easy icebreaker. I have a great experience with him, and he highly recommended you. I thought we could collaborate and find a way to serve him even better. If I understand the services you provide, maybe I can modify what I'm doing or improve what I'm doing so we both come out even better for our mutual customer. You up for a cup of coffee?
And this guy can't say no, because saying no would say, I don't care about this customer's success as much as you do.
Yeah, and if he authentically says yes, it's because he wants better for the customer too. So it's a mutual win-win. It's a three-way win-win.
What benefits do you get out of that relationship though?
So now you are serving your mutual customer better. That means mutual customer is thrilled. Your best customer is now thrilled.
Which is great.
They start talking about you, which is great. Second is over time.
Oh wait, and why is it great? Because who do they hang out with?
Other great customers.
Right.
Birds of a feather flock together. So that great customer starts saying, you wouldn't believe what my gym does. They coordinate with my chiropractor. Does your gym do that? No, come to my gym. right. So you start getting that. Then over time, and you got to let this naturally happen, but over time, you talk to that chiropractor and say, now we're working on one customer together. I wonder if we can do this for other folks. Maybe we can do some mutual stuff together. I have some other people that don't have chiropractors. How can I recommend you? And would you be willing to recommend people to me? Well, now you have a working relationship. It's not like a cold call saying, can you make recommendations? It's an established relationship.
And not with another person in the community that may be suffering and doesn't know how to get colossal pumpkins himself. You're doing it with somebody that you already know.
They're qualified.
Knows how to land at least one, right?
Exactly.
Because it's yours. So developing partnerships with people in your community, I don't care what small business you're in, there's other people selling to your customers. That's just, no matter what. Your customers are buying things similar from other people that are not competitive with you.
That's right.
So getting to network and really build relationships with those people it's amazing, and it's game changing for your business, because you can keep going at it yourself and advertising and doing what you can, but remember, they're advertising too.
The customers.
The vendors.
So
these chiropractors, massage therapists, they're all advertising. So it's like, hey, I'm getting in front of 1,000 people every month with my ads, or 2,000 or whatever, but so are you, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you. And chances are they're not all 100% overlap, right? Let's get together, and how can we basically find a way to refer each other? How can we connect? Yeah. So I think your strategy was making what I wanted to do, right? Collaborate with all these people. You gave me a strategy to make it really, really easy. Yeah. And for anybody that's wanting to do this, I'm sure you've already thought about how great it would be to connect with other people in your community to help refer to you. This strategy, to me, has been hands down the simplest way to begin the conversation, continue the conversation, and have it with the right people.
It brings about explosive growth, because think about it, you're leveraging the advertising of the other vendor, but the mutual customer is being served so well. The best advertising in the world is word of mouth.
Right.
When a customer says you got to use these guys, but now the beautiful thing is, what if that mutual customer says you got to use this chiropractor? Well, you have a relationship there. It kicks back to you again. Right. So now you have this circle.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good. And then there was the pruning.
Yeah, the final phase, perhaps the most important, is the discipline of saying no.
Now, well, first, pumpkin. How does it work in the pumpkin?
Oh, so let me talk about good. So pumpkins, the ordinary farmer is in the game of growing as many pumpkins as possible. They're in the quantity game. Halloween's their big holiday. But by focusing on everything, nothing can grow colossally. And the example I love to use is if we drive down any road here and we drive by a farm, you'll never see a colossal vegetable growing out of nowhere because all the nutrients all the time is spread out. What colossal farmers do is the second a little pumpkin starts growing on the vine, they kill it because they want to protect the colossal pumpkin. Well, in business, the ordinary entrepreneur is all over the place. We focus all types of customers. There's no focus. We take on any type of work just because we want the revenue.
We think it's a more opportunity to make more revenue from existing opportunities.
Exactly. But nature proves that actually restricts our growth. It'll prohibit our growth. So colossal entrepreneurs say no to unfit customers, cut off those pumpkins, and they also say no to opportunities which are actually distractions.
Unfit services.
Yeah,
Right.
we call it opportunities, which sounds so appealing, but they're unfit. So we have to say no. And if the more we say no to things, it puts more concentration, more time, more energy in that colossal growth.
I got a chance to read the Steve Jobs biography, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And I found it so interesting that obviously Apple let him go. He went on, did stuff with Pixar, Next, and all that. But then they brought him back because they were suffering.
Yeah.
But they had 10,000 products. They had scanners, printers, cameras, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And his thing was, hey, look, if I'm going to come back, we go to 4.
Yeah.
Right? And he chopped it down to 4 products, and he got great at these 4 things instead of being competitive with these 10,000 things. And I think we all realized that Apple became the highest revenue generating company in the world shortly after. And so I think for every business, same thing. Instead of being a jack of all trades, what can you be the king of?
Yes.
And what can people associate you with being the king of? Is it bad to upsell other things? No, but make sure you have a real good, strong focus on this one
Category.
thing.
Exactly. It is a discipline. This is where most entrepreneurs struggle because it sounds so appealing. You have a captive client. Let's do more. We have a captive audience. No. Stay concentrated. Steve Jobs' lesson is fantastic because while you're doing less, you become so good at it, you become world famous.
Right.
And that's where explosive growth happens.
Yeah. So you have a new book coming out.
I do.
Now, it's not for a while, so you don't even have a title for it yet.
No.
But you know what you're writing about, and it's about efficiency, right?
Business efficiency.
So give me one solid tip from the book, because this is nobody else is getting this but us right now.
All right. So here's the big one. I started studying what organization is the most efficient in the world, right? If I can find out the organization that's most efficient, I'm going to take their techniques and apply it to the book. What I found is the most efficient organization in the world is not human, it's bee colonies. Bee colonies are extraordinarily efficient at growing. So I said, well, what are the rules that bee colonies follow? And there's a simple 2-step process. First step is protect the queen. Every bee colony has a queen bee. Her mission is to lay eggs. If eggs are being laid, the colony will grow. If there's no eggs being laid, the colony's done. The second step is whatever bee you are, is you first protect the queen, make sure she can lay eggs, then and only then do you go back to your core competency, collecting pollen, doing whatever bees do. Well, in business, the ultimate efficient businesses I'm finding know what the queen role is, the queen bee role. It's not a person, it's a capacity. There's one little piece that allows the whole business to grow explosively. It's the charisma of the business. It's their ability to make customers thrilled. But there's a certain role that's delivering that. You have to find what that is. Once you find it, every employee knows if that isn't running at full efficiency, you must stop what you're doing and make it go at full efficiency and then get back to what you do.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, doctor's offices. A well-run doctor's office runs like this. You'll go into the doctor's office, you won't be checked in by the doctor. Your doctor will not be putting your files in. Your doctor will not call you into the examination room. In fact, there'll be 3 examination rooms. You'll be put into 1. The pre-exam will not be run by the doctor. Only thing the doctor does
Is a thing that no one else can do?
Only the doctor's role. They go in, they do their assessment, and they make an opinion. Then they go to their office and they write it down and they go back to the next examination room. They go boom, boom, boom through things. They can render 500 opinions in a day, the only role a doctor can do. A poorly run doctor office, the doctor will check you in, run the files, do the pre-exam. Yeah. Businesses will grow once you identify what's that one role that no one else can do. Protect that role with all you've got and outsource everything else. The business will grow explosively.
That's really cool. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to follow Mike and really understand what he does, I definitely recommend doing so. He puts out really great content. He's a great speaker, and if he's ever coming near you to speak, I definitely recommend getting tickets to that conference, because number one, it's probably a great conference because you speak at some pretty cool places.
Thank you.
But also, you get to learn from him even more. Other than that, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Rock and roll, brother.
Learned a lot from you.
This, Mike.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks so much for watching The Bold Show. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to boldshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.